Sketchy.
It's superhero time! And today we continue the adventures of the enemy of things needing enemies, the arch-enemy of the same things as before but with an arch in front of it, and destroyer of other things, possibly but not necessarily the same things as before, Shotgun Man! By day he is a normal man, but when duty calls he is a normal man with a shotgun! We continue his adventures where we left off, obviously, with his arch-enemy, Dr. Enemy, who has placed Shotgun Man's love interest, who you do not need to know the name of since she has no lines in this, in peril so unimaginable it wasn't even imagined by the writers. So we continue the story.
Ha Shotgun Man. It looks like you have been beaten once again. You think you are the saviour of all that is good and holy. You think you represent the views of the public, the man on the street, but you know better than me. We are the same in most respects, except I have chosen the path of reward, whereas you have chosen the path of spending his life fighting for those he does not know for no benefit, when people he serves could just as readily cut him down where he stands. So you can either do the right thing or the noble thing. Give me the coats of the NATO stockpiles and I will let her go. We can end this once and for all. What do you say?
Well, that about sums it up, actually, so don't bother to tune in next week, as there will be no more episodes of Superhero Time!
This weekend, man, he's having a massive stock clearance. Everything must go. This TV, $1,200. This camcorder, $400. This stuff, cheap. This stuff, even cheaper. We're selling stuff. Stuff! Cheap! Ah! Ah! Stuff! Stuff! Cheap stuff!
Comedians at the club.
Have you ever noticed the differences between women and men? Like, there are so many differences you wouldn't believe it. Like, men dance like this, and women dance differently, and men like having beer, farting, and being stupid, whereas women like to talk a lot and talk about feelings and be really annoying. It's the same as the differences between black men and white men. Have you ever noticed that white men are really nerdy and geeky, whereas black men are cool and are by far more interesting people? Have you ever noticed that?
Comedians at the Club is pre-recorded in Pitt Street, Melbourne. Don't try and find it though, because we made the entire thing up. Duh.
Welcome to the Alistair McAllister interviews. In today's program, Alistair interviews one of the most influential people of the last decade, a proud economic liberal and one of the most loved and most hated prime ministers our country has ever had, Mr. John Howard. Good afternoon! Mr. Fruit is never returns again, but what they don't know is like this back and he's never gonna take your sons. So, little thing is like Mr. Sorry, welcome to you very much. So the question is, what do you think is the smartest and they'll never listen to most people know? Yeah. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the mornings on Classic FM. Today, as a part of a radio transfer, we welcome from MFFM, Nick, Mel and Davo.
Welcome to the mornings. You're here on Classic FM with me, Nick.
Me, Mel.
And of course, Davo, who, as we all know, doesn't talk. Classical. You know, your voice is definitely different today.
No, nothing different.
Right.
You know, I had an idea this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was listening to the radio over my coffee, and they had a story about the Russian-Georgian conflict. And I thought, as both nations are both strong in their own independence, some would be self-important, particularly Russia. If all troops were to pull out of South Ossetia, with Russia being the military stronger of the two, remaining to keep the peace.
Right, that's a great idea. That's totally meritorious.
That's what I thought.
Of course, Russia's been equally, I guess, forthcoming in this conflict, so you need to make sure they pull out when asked.
I guess not pulling out when asked is a problem you're familiar with.
Touché.
What does that mean?
I don't know, it's a France language word. And now it's time for Joke of the Day, and this one was sent in by Wilhelm of Narrabundah. An engineer, a mathematician and a physicist are staying in 3 adjoining cabins in a decrepit old motel. First, the engineer's coffee maker catches fire on the bathroom vanity. He smells the smoke, wakes up, unplugs it, throws it out the window and goes back to sleep. Later that night, the physicist smells smoke too. He wakes up and sees that a cigarette butt has set the trash can on fire. He says to himself, how does one put out a fire? One can reduce the temperature of the fuel below the flash point, isolate the burning material from the oxygen, or both. This could be accomplished by applying water. So he picks up the trash can, puts it in the shower stall, turns on the water, and when the fire is out, goes back to sleep. The mathematician, of course, has been watching all this out the window. So, when he finds that his pipe ashes have set the bedsheet on fire, he is not in the least taken aback. He immediately sees that the problem reduces to one that has already been solved, and he goes back to sleep.
That's so totally jocose.
Categorical. Thanks, Wilhelm, for those 6 sweet humour words. And now I think we'll take some callers in. And today's topic was actually suggested by our producer back at FFM. Do you think ugly people should be banned? Let's take some callers in.
So the question is, should we investigate state-imposed sanctions prohibiting people deemed of subpar physical attractiveness from living?
Bonza, Mel. And our first caller is Tyson from Suburb Town. How's your morning been, Tyson?
Sweet dude. Now, what are you guys doing on this station? I had to use the search thing on my radio to find you. I never normally miss the morning show, but and the guys you've got doing your show now, real losers. And I didn't get that joke. Can you explain it to me?
Well, the humour comes from the fact that a mathematician wouldn't bother to arrive at the solution to a problem if it had already been solved, and then this is taken out of context and applied in a different situation. In regards to our counterparts, I appreciate the veracity of your statement, but we'll have to see what the ratings do.
Right. So what was I supposed to be opinioning on?
Whether ugly people should be banned or not.
I guess so. I mean, ugly people like ugly, because that's what you said. And being ugly is bad. I mean, if it wasn't, there wouldn't be so much beauty products in everywhere. So I mean, we may as well ban them, and because I'm not allowed to smoke when I want anymore. And for me, smoking and standing next to an ugly person, well, I know which one I ain't preferring.
I think that'll do. Thanks for that, Tyson.
Check you later.
I think he's sort of on the mark there.
True. Heterodox.
Next we have Telesha from Thilukpana.
Are you guys doing requests?
Not at the moment, but if you want the song a bit later, we can cue it up.
Do you have Umbrella by Rihanna?
Somehow I think not. A classic FM by definition has only classical music.
Classical?
Yeah, classical.
What's classical?
With an orchestra, usually.
Orchestra?
Did you see Transformers?
Yeah?
Well, the music in that was on an orchestra with violins and such. That's sort of like classical.
So right. Do you have Show Me the Money?
Is that classical?
Well, yeah, it's on the soundtrack to Step Up. That's a good film.
Oops, looks like we lost Talisha there. But instead, let's go to Roger from Manly.
I am completely flabbergasted at the level to which this radio station has sunk. Do you have any idea of the slightest concept of the ramifications and indeed the implications